Hi Sharad, welcome to
Hi.
Xartup. Nice having you.
Hi. Good. How are you?
I'm good, I'm doing good. What about you? How are you doing?
Doing well.
Great, great. So I'll start with a quick introduction about yourself for the folks, and then we'll take it forward. So Sharath is an industry veteran in the software tech industry specifically, and moving forward, he has been exploring the startup ecosystem immensely with immense interest in Bangalore specifically. And it's a pleasure having you with us over here, Sharath. And to give the folks an idea, Sharath has been in the software industry for almost like 40 years as of now. He has worked with IBM. He has led different segments of marketing, sales, technology in big tech companies. So it's a pleasure having you, Sharath.
Thank you. So, thank you so much for having me on the call, and I'm happy to interact with such elite and esteemed group, and above all, a very bold one to have taken a step to get into the startup world. Briefly introduced by my colleague, but basically to say that I come from a very small town by a place called as Ajmer. Maybe some of you have heard, some of you have not. Did my graduation there, I did my post-graduation there, and then tried my hand at IPS, IAS. As all parents wanted their kids in the 80s to be in a government job where you could have pension after retirement till you die. And then your spouse gets 50% of that. But my heart was never there. It was predominantly either advertising or business development. I was born salesman, I think. So I came to Bombay in 79 and started my career as a part-time lecturer in a college. Surprising quite a lot of you, but I had to earn little pocket money to be able to do my course in advertising and marketing from Bhavans, which I completed. And then I got my first job in a company called as Bradma, which is into data writing systems. And then in 82 onwards, till 2018, when I hung up my boots, I was in the IT industry. In the 80s, and many of you may not have been born at that time, but in the 80s, industry was more of hardware. People knew very little of software. So if we could sell hardware, software was given free. So that was the concept. And then I realized that hardware is soon going to become a commodity. So basically moved to software industry in 1989. 89 onwards was a big move into software industry. And I cut it short, I started my own venture in 1996, which got listed in Bombay Stock Exchange in 1999. Then I moved out of that company in 2002. I started with a friend of mine in US. He was the main architect called as Webify Solution, which got acquired by IBM in 2006. And then I worked for IBM for a little while. I don't like working with very large companies because they're too bureaucratic. So I decided to be on my own. And then got an opportunity. This was all in Bombay, but got an opportunity to get into Bangalore in a company which was joint venture between two very large companies, but struggling. So the chairman wanted me to come and turn it around, and I stayed with that company for 9 years, which was in clinical trials, but more into the IT business development and the global operations. Made that company from 80 to almost 600 people, doing very well now. I got tired of traveling, so I moved out. So that is brief about what I did. But in the bargain, after I moved out in 2017, I started two more companies. One was a very unique concept. All of us have a vehicle and somebody comes to wash it every day, but they use water. We started a car wash company without water. So that was very successful. We had about 10,000 cars being washed every day in Bangalore and Hyderabad. Then we were hit by pandemic and the entire labor went, so it's still paused. And the second one was in EdTech, and again, same thing happened where during pandemic, all parents said that, their kids are getting enough of screen time, so they were not very keen on doing too much of non-academic screen time. So that is also paused. Currently, I'm involved in one, which is based out of Austin, Texas, and I'm on board of that, is into artificial intelligence. And it's still on. Let's see how it's been there for 8 years. We're not making profit as yet, reasonably well funded. So that is where it goes for startup point of view. My experience of 5 startups, 2 very successful, 2 on hold, 1 still continuing. A lot of gray hair or no hair left being involved in all those companies. And so that is where it is. And do you think should we do more of question answers, or do you want me to give you a brief about what you should look at startups when you start something on your own? What is it that you are looking at?
Sure. So thanks for giving a brief about your experience as well. Let's set the context with your experience of building stuff, as in how are you sort of exploring those concepts, validating those ideas? Because to give you a context, most of the folks over here are coming from a very early stage background. So if you can set that context, then we can take up their questions in this regard.
Sure. So basically what I look at the company, and I'll take example of the first company which we started, and I don't call it startup because when we started in 1996, there was no concept of funding. Nothing existed. So you had to start with your own money, whatever little it is. This was a software company called as MX Information Technologies. One criteria which I had was because in 1996, most of the companies were doing business with the US, and it was more of on-site consulting rather than doing offshore projects. We started this company with a very clear objective that we'll be focused on Europe, not US. So that was one prime thing. So one of the first companies to penetrate into European countries. We had office in UK, Netherlands, and Germany. Did very good business over there. And then came the year 2000 problem. Many of you may be aware, may not be aware. All the programs written in COBOL way back in 1999, when it became 2000, it became 00 and 1900. So all the programs went for a toss. That had to be fixed. To replace that, so you first do analysis and then you fix the code. So that was a big opportunity. We built a tool and we started working on it. Just to give you a brief idea, in 1996, when we started with very little money and had very good experience in terms of deputing people on site, we had business in UK, but what hit the roadblock was we didn't get visas. Something that I never anticipated, because they said, you are a new company, we don't trust you, so we will not give you a visa. So from the time we started, Feb 96, 22 months before I got my first visa set of 8 people. And that is where we deployed people, and then there was no looking back. So one lesson, basically what I want to say is have patience in what you're trying to do. Basically, you register a company, you put some money of yours into it, the idea is there. Idea takes little time to mature. And once it matures, then you start seeing the results. So don't panic in the first 6 months. And nowadays the thinking is that I have an idea, I've done something, I've created an app or a product or a service, and now I need funding, right? So funding has dried up for the last 1 year or so, because if you see a lot of startups and things like it, 20, 30,000 startups, a lot of them don't even see the daylight of a couple of months. So the specific, my view and my opinion is that when you start a company with a product or a service in mind, be very clear what market are you addressing. Is there a scope? What is the competition? How will you beat the competition? And do you have enough strength in terms of finance and people to take it to a level where you start becoming profitable? Most of the startups you see nowadays depend on funding, and they spend a lot of money on that. And rarely you see a profitable company. That is a challenge to me personally, although it is not the industry or a marketing game now. From my point of view, I think that you need to consider always to become profitable as soon as possible. How you register your company, it's private limited company, paid up capital, what it should be, how many partners are there. Try to keep minimum partners. I have been consulting with some of the companies who've been successful and have had interpersonal relationship problems between the partners. So try and see that you have as less as possible on that. Secondly, be very clear in terms of what role each one will play. There is no point duplicating some efforts. For example, there will be some business development, some technical guy, some operations person, finance, etc., and so on. So what is the key objective of that? The key thing is that you have decided about a product or service, go to achieve that. That is the key thing. I remember in 97 when we ran out of money and we went to bank for the loans, they said no. We said, okay, how can we get a loan? So it says hypothecate the properties and they will give you 40% of that. Then you go to private investors. I have paid 60% per annum interest on the loan that we got from private parties, high risk. So that situation has changed now considerably. There are enough avenues where you can get the money, but try and keep the funding to as minimum as possible. Try and sustain it a lot more. Be very frugal and meager in your spendings when you try and build a company.
Thanks. Thanks, Sharath, for shedding light on that. It's like pretty predominant now because tech is available at hand. Everything can be built within like few days. So after building the stuff, people are obviously looking for funding, and that industry is sort of going down, driving down in last 1 year. That's what we've been seeing. So let's now take up questions from the folks in this room specific to this particular segment, as in starting with the idea, getting co-founders, partners, and raising funds, right? So I would request you to raise your hand or give a reaction, and or maybe put it in the chat box, and we can take up the question. Let's take it from Baisani Akshita. Let me pin you. Yes, Akshita, you can go ahead, and request you to please turn on your videos if you can while asking questions. That would be more important.
Hi, this is Akshita. Actually, I couldn't turn on because I'm not in the good state, and so sorry for that. Yeah, and the most important question that I wanted is like I just have an idea to proceed with the startup, but how the business model should look like. And I'm an IT developer, so I know how the websites and all the things, how the risk calls, and I know the technical things. But the thing is like how a business development model should look like, and how can I get the technical team, like perfect technical team, and how can I get a funding? If these three goes hand in hand, then startup will definitely work. So I want resources, and I want a model, like how should I build a model for my business. I have an idea, but I couldn't put that properly.
Okay, so my view on that, basically what happens typically in a startup mode or something is, and my view is slightly different, and most of you are from IT industry, I guess, but what are you trying to solve as a problem is the key question. Whether it is a product or a service, do you find any gap in the current market, right?
Yeah, you can go ahead. It's like I wanted to it's kind of a product, but it's completely related to a website, or it's kind of a website where people can go get a subscription and then they can use that particular thing. It's like that. It's related to music.
Yeah, I understand. So my question is, it's not the website that you're addressing. It is some gap in the system or in the service, or what people want is what you are addressing. IT is a means to achieve that. So anything that you are fixing as a gap in the market, you are using IT to fix it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So be very clear about what you are addressing. Are you addressing an IT solution, or are you addressing a market gap? IT is just a means.
Yeah, I wanted to create opportunities for the people who are lacking them. I want to create an opportunity for the people like who are lacking because of it's kind of an application that I want to build, so everyone can access with their mobiles as well. I could not disclose my idea completely. It's kind of application that I want to build so that people can get the subscription, and then they can use this platform so that they will get an opportunity to like to show their talent.
Yeah, so another thing that you need to look at is whatever you are trying to build, is there a competition? How big is the market? How much are you planning?
Actually, there is no competition like which the startup like they gave me analysis, and in India Actually, in other states as well, like in abroad countries as well, like there is no such competition in this, because I think this is a fresh idea, and I got to know from this startup as well, like they are not there is no competition for this.
Well, if you've done enough research and there is no competition, go ahead, complete,
Yeah, and there
full
is much
throttle.
population in India, and it should definitely work, because population is more anyway. It's going to work because of the
Sorry
population.
to interrupt, Akshita. If you can please rephrase your question and give the exact question, that would be helpful for Sharath.
Okay. It's like I have an idea and I wanted to build a mobile application, or it can be a website. It can be accessed both in laptop and in mobile. So that I just wanted to have some invest. Like I don't have enough money to invest on that, so I'm looking for investors. I'm looking for good technical team. Actually,
So that is a tough challenge because Akshita, because in India, if you were in US, you get money on PowerPoint presentations. You make a PowerPoint presentation and you say, this is my idea, this is what I want to do, and I need some money, so you'll get seed capital. In India, people really do not look at that kind of a thing, even though the financiers could be from US, but they would still want you ready with your product or a solution, go to the market, get some traction on it, then only investors would be happy. So when you're saying you don't have money, that is a difficult one, because you will have to sustain yourself for some time before you even start thinking of getting a funding.
Is there any chance, like if I can make a demo and present that in front of the investors, and can I get their attention? Like
Yes, you can
not
try
a
that.
bigger chain, yeah, some kind of small.
Certainly you can try that, but it's a hard.
Yeah, because I need a technical team, because nothing can be built by myself. I cannot build everything. Yeah, I need a team, or like at least to build a business model, as a flow, kind of a flow diagram or something. Like can you suggest me something, like how can I start, because I don't have much knowledge on business. Technically I'm good, but what are all the things that I required? I wanted to know that.
So one of the things that one has to consider, and which in my last 1.5 years, I've interacted with 70 plus startups, and not one, and I'm telling you, not a single one has even bothered to talk about business development or hiring a salesperson, because they always feel that their idea is the best, the product is the best, the service is the best, and it will sell on its own. It does not happen. It's like a finance guy knows finance better, HR guy knows HR better, technical guy knows technicality is better, a salesman or a business development person knows how to sell. So you have to have salespeople to sell your idea, because most of the people who are technical in nature, you can't go and sell technical things, right? You're selling a solution, not a technology. So you will have to create that platform. You to make sure that people are convinced who are working with you that this idea is the best and it will sell in future.
Like where can I find the investors in India? Is there any website, or is there anyone?
Well, if you Google, you will get tons of them. So that's the easiest. And how many can you attract to get funding choice? I mean, there are hundreds of them who are loaded with money and would want to. But how will you attract their attention is a very different one.
Okay, is there, I don't know whether I can ask this question or not. Is there any chance, like I can make a simple demo and I can show that to you? Like, will you be interested in that to invest?
Yeah, sure. I am always, I like the whole concept that you younger people, I'm learning quite a lot from you all also as to what kind of idea, what kind of thing. So definitely I'm very blunt when I talk to all the startups and give my firm opinion. It may be wrong or right, but I say to them what I feel, right? So certainly I'll be happy to help you, Akshita.
Then thank you so much. Like I will prepare one model and I can give a good presentation. Can I have your email ID?
Maybe by the end of this session, we'll be sharing that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, maybe
sure.
you can share at the end of session, Rahul.
Sure.
You can share the entire group. Yeah.
Actually, your voice is breaking. Can you please repeat that? I can share.
Yeah, Akshita will be sharing this by the end of this session. You can take it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's it from my side.
Yeah, like very long trail of follow-ups, but thanks, Sharat, for patiently answering.